J'ai vraiment voulu. Prince?
Hi, this is the Professional Amateur Hour coming to you with another review. This week, I checked out WARHUNT, and this 2022 film was directed by Mauro Borelli and stars Mickey Rourke, Josh Burdett, and Jackson Rathbone, among others, of course. The story of this film takes place during World War II, and there is this plane, and it has secret documents about witches, and it gets downed in this forest. So this American unit of, I guess, Marines or whatever, have to go and rescue the secret documents. However, there are also witches in this forest. So it turns out to be witches versus Marines. But what will happen exactly? You'll have to watch the movie and find out. Alright, so let's discuss what works with this movie. Well, I actually like the general idea of it. You know, it's witches versus the army. And I thought that was a good idea. It's not something you see every day. I know you see other things where it's like witches have joined the army, but you know, that's not really like the traditional like witch style of monster. And so I thought this was a very good idea, especially since like with regular witch movies, it's always like kind of an unsuspecting, you know, normal person. However, with this one, you know, they're Marines, so they're trained to, you know, shoot and kill things. So I thought that would be a very interesting kind of dynamic. And, you know, it does definitely work for sure. Seeing these, you know, GIs trying to really deal with witches. And so, yeah, that's definitely something that really brought me into it. In addition, I did kind of like the mystery aspect of it. You know, the witches, they have this windmill and it keeps like disappearing and moving. And I thought that was good. Just like, what's it called? The TV show Lost. And then they are in the forest and they keep like walking around in circles and they're like trapped in the mist and stuff. Just like, what's it called? Blair Witch 2 or something. Anyways, I thought those mysteries were good. It definitely had like this kind of fantasy element to it that I definitely thoroughly enjoyed. Also, you know, I did think some of the writing was clever. It's about this group of GIs in Europe, you know, fighting the Nazis and stuff. And they're saddled with this extra guy and they're kind of teasing him. And, you know, they're like, oh, you can't really like whack a Nazi. And they're like, it depends on what you mean by whack a Nazi. Because it turns out he's been fighting, you know, the imperialists over in the Pacific Theater. And so he's been doing like island hopping, like guerrilla warfare type of stuff. And so he is, you know, very skilled, but just skilled differently. And I thought that was kind of an interesting kind of take on how these two like subsections of the army would interact. And I had never really thought about that before, so I did find it to be clever. There were a few other things that I thought were clever, but definitely that was the main one. As for the acting, I thought all the acting was fine. Same with the camera work and the lighting. And the setting I thought was pretty cool. It's definitely added a creepy environment, you know, the kind of the German style of forest. I've only seen a few movies kind of utilize that style, but you know, it definitely adds to the movie. So, you know, all of that's good. And that brings me to what doesn't work with this film. Well, while watching it, I kept asking myself, like, what are the stakes of this mission? If they fail the mission, do they lose the war, or do they, I don't know, win the war if they get out this information? It just seemed like if they did fail the mission, the secret documents would be with the witches, and the witches aren't really going to give it to anyone, or at least that's the way it seems. And, you know, if they succeed in the mission, it doesn't seem like the witches are going to team up with the allies and help them win at all. So it just kind of seems kind of pointless with no real impact on the greater war that's happening around them. It's just some, you know, one-off mission that these soldiers go into this magic forest. And yeah, it just seems like there's no stakes. Of course, I guess, you know, the stakes are that they want to get out alive, but as army people, like, you know your life is expendable, right? So it just seemed like it was just kind of pointless. Like it didn't have any impact on anything besides the people involved in the forest. So yeah, it's just something that kind of brought down the story for me. In addition, I know this movie has Mickey Rourke in it, and he's a good actor, but this is about like a day and a half of work for him. Like he's in this office for most of the time, so that's one day, and then he's, you know, walking in the forest for one day. He's in it for a very little amount, and it just annoys me You know, it's just like how when you see like Tom Sizemore in an Asylum film, you can expect, you know, he's going to be in it for 10 minutes. And the same is true for Mickey Rourke here. I know why they do that, of course, but of course, it just seems like a kind of an underhanded trick. Like, don't make him one of the top billed actors, right? Have it a cameo, but then you don't put the cameo on the poster, right? So it is this kind of seems underhanded, but you know, it is what it is. So who would I recommend this movie for? Well, if you like army movies, but you wish they were more supernatural, then this is probably going to be the right movie for you. It is fun as well, so if you're looking for like a fun supernatural action army movie, yeah, you can turn this one on as well. As for a rating, I gotta give it the better than average score of 5.6. And having said that, I think that's all I wanted to say, so like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.